I lied about being pregnant as a joke. This entire stunt has been an advertisement for my Patreon.
Well guys, today's gonna be rough. These days, it's really not that often that I see an internet personality do something that leaves me wondering, what could that person have possibly been thinking? I've seen a lot at this point. However, thankfully for me and these bills I've gotta pay, internet personalities are really good at coming up with dumb shit to do. And today we've got something pretty out there, guys. On this channel, we've seen people do some pretty funky stuff in order to make money. People doing questionable things in order to make $1 is nothing new, and really, how questionable something is kind of down to personal opinion. A lot of the times when I tell somebody what I do for a living, they find it kind of questionable. However, there are certain things that I think we can all safely agree are objectively questionable, if not worse. Give me an example, you ask. Okay, well, let me think. I don't know, maybe like faking a miscarriage for Patreon supporters? That's kind of a wacky idea, right? Well, apparently not to the YouTuber Caroline Constnar, who yesterday, as of recording this, did a little bit of a prank on her audience, faking a miscarriage in order to get people to click on a video where she is advertising her Patreon. Now, when you hear this, you might be thinking, what? And yeah, that's kind of the same mindset I was in when somebody DM'd me about this situation, because I had no idea who this person was. And I only say that because I feel like my opinion of this individual, which at this point is very low, because the only exposure I have to this person is, you know, them faking a miscarriage for money, might influence this video just a tiny bit. Sorry, I guess. Now, a little bit of context before we jump into this video. From what I've gathered so far, it seems like this YouTuber took a break from YouTube for a while, and then a couple of weeks ago came back with a fake pregnancy announcement. Then, yesterday, they uploaded a video titled "I Lost the Baby," in which Caroline reveals that this entire pregnancy was fake, and this was a social experiment to make a point about parasocial relationships, which I don't know about you guys, but to me, that sounds like the biggest load of horse shit I've ever heard. But for you to form your own opinion, I'll let you hear it from the horse's mouth. Let's begin. Please subscribe.
Okay, guys, I lost the baby, and I don't know exactly where I put it. It has to be around here somewhere. Okay, so some of you guys are probably wondering, no, I am not pregnant. And I'm sure some of you are shocked. I'm sure some of you are not surprised at all. I'm sure some of you don't care. But some of you might be asking,
okay, so quick break here. This is pretty much completely unrelated to the subject matter, but I want to ask you guys a question. I've always had a pretty simple editing style. My videos are pretty bare bones when it comes to the editing. What are your thoughts on that? I ask this because this style of video is literally my least favorite thing to watch on the planet. And that's nothing against Caroline. Well, I mean, I guess it kind of is. It's her editing style, but you know, different strokes. But for me, I cannot stand when a video is like, hey, are you watching? Don't look away. Why are you looking away? Don't look away. Don't look away. Don't look away. It's like, damn. It's 30 seconds in and I think I've heard 4 different songs.
when you're a content creator, the line between entertainment and reality is very blurred. Your audience will become very attached to an abstraction of yourself. And the odd thing is that this connection can become very personally meaningful to the viewers, whilst not being personally meaningful to the creator itself. Your attention is monetarily valuable to me. And unless you have some narcissistic tendencies, which a lot of us do, the experience of having a parasocial relationship with your audience can be very uncomfortable.
Okay, so this is a very fair statement. It would make perfect sense to talk about this in literally any other video. Again, not really sure why this is the avenue she chose, but if you are not a somewhat large content creator, I think it's hard to fully imagine the dynamic of a parasocial relationship on the side of the creator. As a whole, I am very grateful for my audience. I'm very happy that you guys choose to watch my videos. It means a lot to me, and it would mean a lot to me even if I wasn't making money from it. However, I don't know you. People will watch hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of videos from a content creator, and for some people, they begin to think they know that person. I have had people DM me things or comment things directed towards me that no sane individual on this planet would ever walk up to a stranger and say. And that's effectively what you're doing. I have no idea who you are. Furthermore, you also have no idea who I am. You know, August the Duck, which is pretty close, but is not a one-to-one copy of August in real life. So yes, parasocial relationships can be pretty uncomfortable, but why are we using this to talk about that?
I'll give you an example. When I was 15 and I first started making content, I had a lot of people threaten to rape me every day. And if you could imagine, this was not fun. And the problem with this, beyond the obvious, is that there's no meaningful way to respond to this interaction.
Okay, so this is going to be a little bit uncomfy to talk about, but I think it's important. I don't want to say this is where she loses me because that doesn't really describe what I'm thinking. I think there's a fork here, which sort of helps me understand why she thought that making these kinds of videos was a good segue to talking about parasocial relationships. Obviously, somebody saying this to another person is awful. I know, making really groundbreaking statements here, but at least to me, unless I'm missing out on some context here, this does not sound like a parasocial interaction. A person threatening somebody on the internet is a person threatening somebody on the internet. People threaten other people for doing things they don't like all the time. That doesn't make it okay, obviously, but just because it was on the internet, I don't know if that qualifies as parasocial. Like I said, I could be missing out on some context here. I'm not trying to overstep because this is a pretty sensitive subject, but I think it's important to address because the way she's going to explain the reason she decided to do this as a way to open up a conversation about parasocial relationships, combined with this statement, is kind of evidence that Caroline here might have a flawed understanding of what a parasocial relationship is.
The offender has anonymity, and in some way, so do I. So I'm not treating them like a real person. They're not treating me like a real person.
Again, that's like the opposite of a parasocial relationship. A parasocial relationship, the viewer thinks they know the real you. They think they're really your friend, they're really your buddy. So no, they're not treating you like you're not a real person. They are. That's kind of the entire issue with relationships like this.
You're not real, and I'm not real, and none of this is real. And yet, the effect that we have on each other is still very real. I will present myself on the internet because I want to desperately be seen and to connect to other people. And a lot of you come on the internet, a lot of you will engage on the internet because you want to be seen. And because you desperately want to connect to someone. I lied about being pregnant as a joke. And the joke is not that pregnancy under strenuous circumstances is funny. The joke is not that the audience was gullible enough to believe that I was pregnant. The joke is you connected to something that wasn't real. And I have become something that isn't real.
Okay, so this is so fucking stupid that it hurts. There is a fundamental difference between something not being real and a real human lying about something. You can't say that you cared about something that's not real unless the person knew it wasn't real. Sure, the pregnancy was not actually happening, but your viewers did not know that. It was real to them. If you made a skit or something with a pregnant character, that is a pregnancy that's not real. But lying about being pregnant and tricking people into thinking you are, you can't just be like, look at you cared about somebody being pregnant, or you left a comment saying good luck or something. You are the victim of a parasocial relationship. There is a difference between what you are saying you did and what actually happened. It's kind of hard to articulate it how I'm thinking about it in my head, but there's a difference.
We all come here to find this connection over and over again, and we don't really find it until now, when you subscribe to my Patreon. Oh yeah, that's fucking right. This entire stunt has been an advertisement for my Patreon.
And this is where we really just kind of go off the rails. I want to give you guys one guess as to how much each month her top Patreon tier would cost you. It's over $300. And the unfucking believable irony of all this is that the only people subscribing to a Patreon for a channel like this, where all of the videos seem to be very, very low budget and spending $50 or $300 a month to line the pockets of a random person, are those in a parasocial relationship with you, Caroline. I mean, holy shit. Yeah, I faked a miscarriage to tell society how crazy bad parasocial relationships are, but if you have one with me, yeah, give me your fucking money. Caroline, you are genuinely the most tone-deaf person I've ever covered on this channel, and that's a pretty high bar.
I'm also announcing that I'm coming back to YouTube. Listen, I wanted to come back to YouTube and explain to everyone why I had been gone and what had happened to me in that time that made me want to come back. But some of you in my audience are pretty weird, and I don't blame any of you. You can't help being weird, but I didn't think that it would be healthy for me to expose myself like that to all of you. And that's why I decided to keep a lot of my more sensitive information behind a paywall, where I would hope some of the audience would be more intentional with how they interact with me, because now it costs money to do so.
Holy fuck! I didn't watch this far into the video, and I feel like I'm being fucking pranked. Caroline, do you hear the words coming out of your mouth? I mean, this is next level shit, guys. So let me get this straight. In the video where you are talking about the uncomfortable and negative nature of parasocial relationships, you are opening up the opportunity for people in your audience to pay you money to learn sensitive, private information about your actual real life. Is this a bit? No, like actually, is this a skit or something? I don't think I've ever covered anything on YouTube that has gotten this visceral of a reaction out of me. Yeah, parasocial relationships, those things are stinky. But if you want to think you're really my friend, if you want to think you really know the real me, which I know you do, because I'm having you pay money for this, join my Patreon. There, your parasocial relationship can get infinitely worse. You're welcome.
Guys, I'm back. I'm back, and I'm back to making YouTube content. I'm so excited to be back. What better way to return to YouTube? What more ceremonious way to return to YouTube than by bringing back the advice videos? That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Not Dr. Caroline is back in the building. So if you are looking for advice, because I am looking for content, be sure to email your questions and concerns to constantquestions@yahoo.com. I'm almost certain that's the email. I could be wrong.
Okay, so you know the joke of experiencing all 7 stages of grief at once? I've never really understood why people say that. Like, I've never really gotten why people say somebody's experiencing that. Now I do. It's happening to me right now. I literally cannot believe what I'm hearing, and it's making me angry. I'm shocked. I'm bargaining with myself. Maybe not all 7, because I refuse to accept this. Let's reel it back one more time. It's the comeback tour. Let's really hammer this home today. In this video, where Caroline talks about how bad parasocial relationships are, she finishes it out by saying she's bringing back a series in which people that she does not know write into her, and she responds personally to a person she does not know, giving them advice. I mean, if this is a bit, hats off. Now, real quick before we wrap all of this up, I want to go back to that fork I was talking about. That difference in mindset between me and Caroline when thinking about a parasocial relationship. Because what might be the craziest part of this video to me is that, in my opinion, what she's done here would not even highlight a parasocial relationship. Being happy for a random person when they announce a pregnancy, and being sad for a random person when they announce they had a miscarriage, that's not parasocial. That's called being a decent person. You don't have to trick yourself into thinking that you know a content creator and that you're actually their friend in order to say something like, hey, congratulations on the pregnancy, or hey, I'm sorry that you lost your baby. If this was a much, much smaller event, sure, go crazy. Highlight parasocial relationships with that. But big life events are like a universally congratulated thing. You meet 2 people that you've never met in your entire life and they say, hey, we just got married yesterday. You're not going to be like, well, I don't really know you well enough to congratulate you. I wouldn't want to be parasocial. So not only with all the Patreon bullshit have you proven that you don't actually think parasocial relationships are that bad. Either that, or you're just willing to engage in them and make them significantly worse as long as it makes you money. Your whole premise on exposing them didn't even work from the beginning. That's a double L for you, Caroline. Might be time to change your name. Well, guys, I feel like I have been on a roller coaster during this recording session. A roller coaster in which I am presented with many things that make my head go ouch. This video has probably taken years off my life. I do not think I have been this stressed out by a video in years. Genuinely. I actually hope that this is just a skit and I've made myself look incredibly stupid in this video. That would be favorable to me knowing this actually exists. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like and walk on over to that subscribe button and touch it. It's free. It won't cost you anything. But for now, that's all I have for you today. Bye.